Hello everybody, this is Doom Matt doing a Let's Play of Depression Crest, and I wanted to mention before we start that if you are going through depression or something similar to this, or if you aren't able to, if you're very sensitive to sensitive games such as this that covers topics like these, to please do not watch this. So, with that said, let's go ahead and jump straight into the game, and I am going to try to do this in one Let's Play. So, hopefully, if it's not too long, I'll be able to do that. So, it says, its emotional character is probably mostly indescribable except as a sort of double bind in which any or all of the alternatives we associate with human agency, sitting or standing, doing or resting, speaking or keeping silent, living or dying, are not just unpleasant but literally horrible. By David Foster Wallace. This Depression Quest is a game that deals with living with depression in a very literal way. This game is not meant to be a fun or lighthearted experience. If you are currently suffering from the illness or are easily triggered, please be aware that this game uses stark descriptions of people in very dark places. If you are suicidal, please stop playing this game and visit the Suicidal Prevention Hotline to talk to someone. The goal of this game is twofold. Firstly, we want to illustrate as clearly as possible what depression is like so that it may be better understood by people without depression. Hopefully this can be something to spread awareness and fight against the social stigma and misunderstanding that depression sufferers face. Secondly, our hope is that in presenting as real a simulation of depression as possible, other sufferers will come to know that they aren't alone and hopefully derive some measure of comfort from that. It goes without saying that because of the very nature of depression, it is experienced differently by every person who suffers from it. We aren't trying to say that this is the best or most accurate representation, merely that this is an amalgamation of the experiences of the developers and several people close to them. Many of the following encounters deals with issues such as therapy, medication, handling a love life, and reaching out to support networks. In reality, less than half of depression sufferers actually seek treatment, for reasons such as lack of money, perceived personal failing, or public stigma. These things were included in order to touch upon as broad a range as possible. Since all these elements can be very important to sufferers of depression, though they will likely not be the experiences of most sufferers. It is important that not everyone with depression is so lucky. Many people with illnesses don't have a lot of lectures that we have in this game. We have written it this way so that we can focus specifically on the illness, which becomes more and more difficult to deal with as the person who has it is less and less well off. This game uses audio as part of the gameplay experience. We encourage you to play with your sound on. Thanks for playing. Okay, so before we begin, again, as I said, this is sensitive. Depression does show up or affect people in many different ways, and many different people handle it in many different ways as well, in their own way. So, like how they said, this is just how they decided to show us how depression is, and is handled and everything, and what they go through. But this is not just the only way. There are many other ways it is shown or done or handled, especially with the individual that is going through it. So let's go ahead and begin and see where this goes. It is early on a Monday morning. You are a mid-20s human being. You have a significant other named Alex, who you are rather fond of, that you have been seeing exclusively for the past few months. The rest of your social circle consists of a variety of friends and acquaintances, some of whom you met at your day job, which is a little boring but pays the rent. You'd like to be doing more with your life as would your parents, but you are still in the process of figuring out what that means and how to go about it. Oh, okay. Apparently there's more story in those blue icons, and I did not know that. So let's go back. Let's see. So you're a mid-20s human being. You have a significant other named Alex, who you are rather fond of, that you have been seeing exclusively for the past few months. You met Alex through a mutual friend a few months back. The two of you hit it off pretty well that first night, and after a series of initial awkward dates, you finally became a couple, much to your surprise and excitement. Alex is 3 months younger than you are, and is currently a student with a part-time job and broad social circle. She's also got a wide variety of interests, and oftentimes you worry that you might be too boring for her. But she has been good at trying to reassure you that she's happy with you. Your relationship consists of a lot of nights and watching Netflix when you've both got time off work and she doesn't have classes, with the occasional social outing that she tends to have to talk you into attending. She tries to be understanding when you are in one of your moods, as she puts it, though you are starting to feel like she doesn't understand what it's like for you, and this is a source of tension in your relationship. Coupled with your reluctance to want to go to college parties, this feeds your worry of not being excited enough for them. So it sounds like the relationship is going good, but because of the depression of what they're going through, it's starting to slowly affect their relationship. Even though who you are, the player, is going through, is trying to put you that this is the person you're with. So I kind of like how they. Okay, let's keep going. So the rest of your social circle consists of a variety of friends and acquaintances. Wow, this goes detail. So your social circle is made up of a few close friends, some of which you've known from high school and some from jobs that you've worked. You've also made various acquaintances through reluctant going to social events with Alex, and you keep in touch with a few friends that you occasionally run into. You have also online friends that you talk to regularly that you feel less guarded with, possibly due to communicating from safety and being behind the keyboard. You enjoy the low commitment of friendships since they do expect very much of you other than to listen and share personal thoughts and experiences. Despite the low commitment, you feel fairly connected with these people and tend to be more honest with them than people you interact in real life on a day-to-day basis. And that's actually true, that people that do go through depression or something similar tend to actually be more open because they feel more safer to talk to somebody than rather than somebody in real life. It's hard to open up to, it's hard for them to understand, and it's hard to communicate, but over online it's a lot easier. So you feel incredibly nervous trying to make new friends on your own, and you are very good at talking yourself out of going to unfamiliar places or large social engagements, regardless of how much you may actually want to attend. Meeting new people stresses you out to a high degree, and this is something that you wish you could work past. You admit to having a bad habit of flaking on social engagements, even with longtime friends, and are puzzled as to why some days you just can't force yourself to go see these people that you really do care about. Those that have stuck around long enough to be that close with you understand this is a thing you sometimes do and have seemed to more or less accept it even though they chide you for it on occasion. However, you've had friends in the past give up trying to maintain a friendship with you because of this trait, taking your social anxiety as a personal slight or even getting tired of trying to track you down all the time. You feel incredibly guilty about this but are not quite sure how to change this. And it sounds like you have just a few people that you know that are close with, but because of what you're going through, you don't really want to be around or go out as much. And because of this, people in your life are starting to give up and trying to fight with you or trying to help you, keep pushing you to go. They're getting burned out in a way is what it's saying. So because people are going out of your life and aren't trying no more or aren't being there for you when you need them, especially if you go through depression, you need someone there. He's starting to feel bad about this, but he or she doesn't know, you, the player, don't know how to change that. So you consist of a variety of friends and acquaintances, some of whom you met at your day job, which is a little boring, but pays your rent. So the day job is what we do for work. You have a day job which you feel is really nothing special. You started out receiving minimum wage, but have stayed around long enough to make enough to support yourself. The work is dull and unrewarding, and most days you feel like just about anyone can do it. You have a hard time relating to most of your co-workers, so you mostly keep to yourself and get the work done while you are there. There are one or two people you chat with, though you wouldn't consider yourself close to them. A lot of days you have a really hard time getting out of bed or forcing yourself to go in. You're starting to wonder how long can you keep this up. You'd really like to find another job in your field of interest, but feel like you are underqualified every time you look at online job postings. Sometimes you think about going back to school, but you would be unsure how would you be able to support yourself and wonder if the degree would really help anyway. You like to be doing one or more with your life, as would your parents. But you are still in the process of figuring out what that means and how to go about it. So, parents. You are one of the few people you know of whose parents never got divorced, but you do wonder if they still love each other sometimes. You have an older brother named Malcolm, who has moved across the country with his wife to work a high-paying job. Every major holiday that you see him at, you feel a bit jealous and like a lesser kid despite being genuinely happy to see him. You feel very ashamed of these feelings. Your parents genuinely care about you. This often involves inviting you back to your childhood home for dinner, though your mother thinks you never visit quite enough. But you get the impression that they don't fully understand you. They want to see you succeed and don't know why you haven't gone farther in your life yet because you are so smart and talented. Anytime you've tried to talk to them about your motivation issues, they tell you that the solution is simple: to work harder or want it more. Your father is generally more forgiving of your lack of career path, while your mother seems to think you are too smart to be in the position you are in. You know they love you and that they are not bad people, but you really feel like a big disappointment sometimes. This is something that can happen a lot, and that you feel is going on. And even sometimes your work career, you feel like you're not happy to discuss, you're not proud to discuss it with people when you go through depression or anything like that, because people think you can do better, people keep pushing you to do more. It's just something that you aren't proud of at all. You feel like you failed them. You feel like you failed everybody. And that's what this person feels like they're playing as. But you are still in the process of figuring out what that means or how to go about it. You are also dealing with motivation issues that sometimes make dealing with these things difficult. You feel like this is probably your fault, and on bad days can feel inwardly angry and down on yourself for being lazy. But you're not quite sure how can you break out of it, or how other people deal with these feelings and seem so very functional. You spend a lot of nights fixating on things about this, but never seem to do anything about it other than lose sleep. That last part is very true. When you go through something like this, you think about everything too much, and constantly too much of what you could do different, or how could things be different, to where you do lose sleep, you do struggle trying to go to sleep. And I guess if I go further on, it seems like this gameplay is going to be a lot of reading, and if this isn't your type of game, then please don't watch this. Please don't comment about the game is a lot of reading. If it's not your game, please leave and watch another Let's Play that I'll post up or something else. I'm also trying to take this very seriously, so please understand on that. I'm not a therapist or anything like that, but I do really believe that this topic is something that needs to be talked about and understood. And so far, the creators of this game seems to be doing a really good job of getting the introduction, the beginning parts of it out, and helping us understand. So let's go to the next. It's an unseasonable warm Wednesday evening. You spent the past several hours at work. The past week or so you found your job motivation flagging more than usual. You've been in a fog particularly all day today, simply going through the motions without realizing even what you've been doing half the time, and yet you seem to be moving at half speed. You're so checked out that when your boss approaches you to tell you that it's dead and you can go home early, it barely registers. As you walk home, the street hiss from the recent rainfall. You know that your significant other will be in classes until late. Another couple hours at least. You briefly consider using Syntipodus Solitude to catch up on that project that you've been working on haphazardly for the past few months. Project. A while back, you and some of your older friends were out at a bar catching up. After liquefying considerably more of your paycheck than was perhaps responsible, and ending up thoroughly in your cups, you open up to the only people you really consider yourself close to and end up launching into a drunken tirade about the meaninglessness of your utterly menial job and ultimately your own existence. Having never really seen you in such a state before, your friends were briefly taken aback by your sudden uncharacteristic outburst. One of your friends suggested that you get involved with your hobby on a more regular long-term basis, suggesting that spending your energy on something that you actually care about might help you to better cope with the shittiness of your 9 to 5. Although you were embarrassed that you let your guard down, you felt self-conscious at seeming to have single-handedly brought the mood down at the table. You convinced yourself on the cab ride home that maybe it would be worth trying out. You began your project some months ago and have miraculously managed to keep at it, though your level of motivation and subsequent effort rises and falls considerably. While you were surprised when you started at how good it felt to actually work on something, you were passionate about it. Lately, you found it hard to muster the energy to really care about even this. That is one thing that people tend to mention, to do something that you really enjoy, to do something you really like. Because sometimes that can help you, whatever it is you're going through. But depending how long you can keep that motivation going and enjoy it still, all depends if it'll be able to help you. Sometimes you might have to do more things or get more involved in other things other than just one thing. But depression is something that could really bring someone down. Even if you really enjoy something, it's something really hard to keep motivated on. As soon as you think about the work that awaits you at home, you can feel the panic creeping in from the back of your brain, unbidden. All you can think about is how incredibly far behind you are, and the amount of work seems nothing less than insurmountable. By the time you arrive home and change out your uncomfortable work clothes, the stress is raining down on you heavy, wet wool blanket. Your computer seems to be staring you down from your desk. You want to sit down and work, but the mere thought of trying to work sends your stress levels flying. More than anything, you feel suddenly and absolutely exhausted, and feel a strong desire to simply hide in bed. Do you order some food, grab a drink, and hunker down for a night of work? Reluctantly sit down at your desk and try to make yourself do something? Turn on the TV telling yourself you just need a quick half hour to unwind from work? Or crawl into bed, you're so stressed and overwhelmed you couldn't possibly accomplish anything anyways. You are depressed. Interaction is exhausting, and you are becoming more and more withdrawn. You are not currently seeing a therapist. You are not currently taking medication for depression. And that's true. When you go through depression, you're always exhausted. You're always tired. You're always not wanting to do anything. And it's hard to go see therapists because of costs. But also, some people don't want to take medications, or they can't afford it, or have different views on it. So, there could be various reasons why the character you're playing has not done any of this. And it's not something simple to do right away. And if you notice, I can't pick option one. As much as I would want to order food and grab a drink as a choice, it's crossed out for me not to do it. So that says that this person you're playing is so feeling down They don't even want anything to eat. They don't want nothing to drink. So I got only 3 choices to pick. I'm gonna pick if this was me going through it. This is what I would pick. I know some of y'all would pick different choices. Everyone has their own let's play of how they would go through this, their own choices. Some people might think they should try, but I'm gonna do this the way I think would possibly help understand what this is the best. And I could be picking a wrong choice. Maybe someone else would pick different that's going through depression, but this is how I'm going to do it. So sit at your desk, try to make yourself do something, turn on the TV, tell you need a quick half hour on one, or crawl into bed distressed. I'm going to pick option 4 because this person has been feeling like this for a while. They really feel exhausted. They really feel down. They really don't have motivation to stick with the story that they're trying to portray that I think would go best. I'm going to pick option 4, to crawl into bed. You are so stressed and overwhelmed, you couldn't possibly accomplish anything anyways. As much as you like the idea of trying to get work done tonight, the thought of the amount of catching up you have to do instantly freezes you up. The longer you stare at your computer, the higher your stress level rises. You are on the verge of a full-blown panic attack. Not even wandering into the living room to try and watch TV relaxes you. You soon succumb to the mental and physical exhaustion and crawl into bed, making a point to close to your laptop before you turn the light out. You lay in bed for some time feeling disappointed in your own inability to be productive before finally passing out. You awake in the morning from a sleep that was far from restful. In fact, it seems impossible, but it's as though you're more tired than you were when you fell asleep last night. As you pick up your phone, you shut your alarm off to see a handful of text messages from Alex that you apparently missed last night. And that's another thing. When you get that far down and it affects you that greatly, getting more sleep sometimes does not help. You end up sometimes waking up, just as they said, more tired, more exhausted, more drained, instead of feeling more refreshed, like some would think. So we missed 2 calls from Alex, which is our partner. It says text message. Hey, I tried calling when I got out of class, but I guess you're sleeping. Text message. Anyway, I hope you had a good day at work, and I hope you were able to get some stuff done when you got home. I'll talk to you tomorrow. I'm out of class early. Text message. Good night, babe. I love you. So it seems like the character that you're playing is assumed she was gonna be busy all day. Didn't think she was gonna get out. That they missed this important conversation. That says you are very depressed. You spend a large amount of time sleeping, hating yourself, and have very little energy or motivation. You are not currently seeing a therapist. You are not currently taking medication for depression. This part down here, it seems to be, as the story progresses, this is how you're doing, and these are things that you haven't done yet. So far it seems like we're getting worse, but we still haven't sought help or anything. It's a mild Friday afternoon. Alex calls you from one of her classes, telling you that there's going to be a really awesome birthday party at her apartment that one of her roommates is throwing. You've hung out with their roommate a few times with Alex, and you get along well enough, but aren't particularly close. You don't have work in the morning, and have nothing else in particular to do tonight. You are feeling kind of run down, but you have been fatigued for most of the time lately. You mention that you are feeling ill because you are not sure how to explain those feelings to someone else, and say that you aren't sure that you can make it tonight. There is a second of silence over your phone, but you can swear you can hear the sound of your partner's face phone. She tries to convince you anyway. You haven't seen her this week, and she sounds pretty insistent that you come over. She even drops a few suggestively worded hints that you can stay over with them tonight after the party. What do you do? So, the first option is shake off your funk and go have a good time with your girlfriend. Agree to go, or say that you're really just not feeling well and can't make it. And again, it repeats the same thing as the last page. Nothing's changed so far. And they cross out the first one for a good specific reason. When you're going through something like this, you can't shake it off. It's hard to almost impossible to try to shake it off like it's nothing. And it's really hard to actually have a good time. So, because the person I am, I would always try to make people feel better, even if I go through something like this. I would always try to make others feel better, because if I choose to not go, I know that's gonna hurt, for in this instance, hurt Alex a lot, because she really wants me to go. And if I say no, I know she'll be hurt. So me, the kind of person I am, in any situation like this, I would agree to, as much if I wasn't feeling like it. So, agree to go. You agree to go even though you're really not feeling social. And you know it's important to Alex, and you'd really like to see her. Seeing her does make you feel better sometimes, and you hope that this is the case tonight, even if it does mean dealing with all the usual social anxiety. The time to leave rolls around and you grab your overnight bag. Alex's apartment is a short walk away, and there are already people hanging out on the porch. You feel your chest tighten as you approach the building and try to still your nerves. You quickly find your partner chatting away with the birthday girl, and Alex immediately lightens up when she sees you. I'm still happy you came. I wasn't sure if you were going to make it. A young man taps on her shoulder, and she turns back to you to apologize and lets you know they have to do something for the party. Alex hands you a beer and plants a kiss on your cheek before going off to deal with whatever came up. As you look around, you don't see anyone else you recognize. So the first choice is you enthusiastically socialize. Second one's awkwardly stand in the same spot, unsure what else to do. Third one's put your bag in Alex's room and avoid the crowd in there for a while. Cling to the back wall, sip your beer, and wait for your girlfriend to return. Or proceed to drink in earnest, hoping it makes you less comfortable. So when he he got there, Alex was obviously got really happy he showed up, but then she had to leave right away, even though they haven't seen each other this past week, and took off to go take care of something. And when you go through depression and you hadn't seen your partner in a while, this can take a toll depending on how severe it is or what kind of depression you're going through. Sometimes this might not bother you, but obviously you're not going to be excited to socialize because you don't really want to, but you're there because you wanted to make her happy. So me, I wouldn't do 5 at all. I'm not into drinking. I'm not into drinking to make me feel less uncomfortable. And since I'm there with my stuff, I probably wouldn't stand in the same spot, even after they took off. Because you know she took off, you don't know when she's going to come back, you don't know how long it's going to take. So I would end up taking my things up to her room to avoid the crowd for a while. Yeah, I think that's what I would end up doing. Because she never says she came back, so well, part of me would want to take the stuff, but part of me would want to wait. So I probably would end up waiting for a little while. And again, nothing has changed so far, but you still feel the same. So, as Alex leaves, you're not quite sure what to do with yourself. Standing in the middle of the room leaves you feel kind of exposed, and you don't feel botherously enough to randomly approach any of the groups of people clustered together talking. Which is true. It's hard to socialize with people you don't know that are already friends with one another or engage in conversations. So, with some cases, with some people, you tend to not really want to try. So you head to a clear spot on the back wall and then lean against it. For some reason, this always feels a lot more secure. You can scan the party for a familiar face or any sign of your partner and come up with nothing. Not sure what else to do and worrying that you must look creepy just standing there watching. You take out your phone to busy yourself. And that's something, in some cases, I've done. That when I don't know nobody there, I would go against a wall or something and pull out my phone just to keep busy so that I don't feel like no one's wondering what I'm doing or think I'm being creepy or anything like that. So 20 semi-dangerous games of visual bits later, your partner returns. You spend the rest of the night with Alex, occasionally being introduced to people and nodding along with good conversations even if you don't participate that much. That's nice she came back. I wasn't sure she was. At the end of the night, as you are falling asleep with your girlfriend in the crook of your arm, she thanks you again for coming. Half drunk, she confides that she thought you were going to flake out and was pleasantly surprised that you managed to come out. She says it's lovingly, but you're not quite sure how you feel about that statement. So, the main thing, in my case, if I was in this situation, even if I wasn't feeling well, the fact that that made her happy will be all that mattered to me in that case, even if I wasn't in this case. Which in this case the character doesn't know. So again, you are very depressed, you spend a large amount of time sleeping, hating yourself, and have very little energy or motivation. You are not currently seeking a therapist, and you are not currently taking medication for your depression. It is a little afternoon on a muggy Saturday. Your mother has come over for a surprise visit. Calmly, loudly, that she doesn't see you enough, so she decided to invite herself over. As you converse, she walks around your place, and you get the distinct impression that you're being inspected. So what's going on with you lately? She asks abruptly. Taken somewhat aback by this left fielder, you tell her you're not sure what she means. She repeats the question, saying that you have seemed like yourself lately. She gestures to the dirty dishes piled on the sink and notes. The fact that you haven't called or visited in a while. While your residence only seems to spur her on more, she pressures you, asking if you are having problems at work or with Alex, and you're beginning to feel increasingly battered by her sudden involvement by overwhelming inquisitions. Under her questions, you become increasingly uncomfortable. You want to be able to explain to her how you've been feeling, but the truth is you're not really sure yourself. Nothing horrific has happened at work, or with your significant other, or friends, or anything like that. But all the same, you can't deny that lately you've just felt drained, and as though you are not really here. You wish you could tell your mother these things, but she hasn't been approachable about no negative emotions in the past. She's the kind of person who holds the opinion that the solution to any problem is to simply try harder and maintain a positive attitude, a stance that has reared its head in past conversations when you've begun to explore the subject with her. You know she's unlikely to be understanding, and you feel the energy drained out of you when you imagine what would happen if you managed to blurt out everything what you are feeling. What do you do? So, unfortunately, the way the mother is reacting, seeing how the place isn't clean, and he or she hasn't seen his mother in a while. When someone approaches to you, or even someone as your parent or mother or father, and starts asking you stuff like this, or telling you things like this, it's hard to communicate, it's hard to tell them how you're doing exactly. Because they have the same opinion a lot of people tend to have when it comes to anyone that goes through anything like this, or even something similar. They always tell you to be positive, to try harder, but when you go through something like this, it is really hard to stay positive. It is really hard to keep trying harder. And sadly, that's what a lot of people think with depression or anything like this, that it's easy to get over with, or stop feeling that way, or stop seeking attention, or stuff like that. And that's not the case. It's not that easy to get over with. If it was something easy, everyone would be doing it. But it's not. And I like that they show this and portray it like this. So the options we have, and I'm going to read them all, even the crossed out ones. First one, let her know that you've been feeling down lately and that you appreciate her concern. Second, try to be honest with her anyway. Third, tell her everything is fine and thanks for asking. 4, change the subject. And again, the parts grayed out are still the same. So, obviously, the first two, with past experiences of trying to tell the mother of how you've been doing, has never gone a good way. It's always been to try harder and be more positive. They already know it's not worth trying to do that anymore, because they know how it's gonna go, and they know they won't ever understand. And just the thought of that is very tiring and brings you down a lot. So typically, what I would do, or what I would choose with this, is pick everything is fine and thanks for asking. I wouldn't really go into changing the subject if I was in this situation, because I wouldn't know what subject to talk about. So I would rather just say it's fine and thanks for asking, and hopes the conversation just ends. So let's see what happens. So, I'm okay, Mom. Really. Thanks for worrying about me. Your mother looks at you from across the room with furrowed brows, and you wonder if the tone in your voice was a bit convincing. She slightly opens her mouth as though she was about to say something more, but instead she digs through her purse for her cell phone, having apparently decided against it. Well, as long as you're okay, honey, her voice trails. And I'm terribly sorry, I'm not that good doing female voices. As your mother returns to what amount to more or less small talk, you realize that this part of the conversation has happened a lot recently. Someone will express concern for you, or ask if you're okay, out of seemingly nowhere. You tend to find that it's simpler to just declare that you are okay, than find the right words for complicated or murky feelings. Besides, since none of them are in reaction to a specific event, maybe you really are okay and just complaining about nothing anyway. Sometimes when you say that you are okay to those who ask, you have to wonder if you are trying to convince them or yourself. People I've talked to, and people I've known that have gone through something like this, or aren't feeling well, that is the word they tend to go to, is they're okay or they're fine. Because they don't know how to express it, but they also don't want to be asked questions about it over and over again. Some people tend to get tired of it, and I know that sounds really down and bummer, like if you should even ask, but one thing I know is just being there for someone, even if they're down, even if they say they're okay or fine and don't want to open up when you know something's wrong, that means the world to them if you can do that. So, even if someone says that, don't be bummed out. Keep sticking by their side with them. The lazy Sunday morning. You are idly clicking around online as your phone rings. Sam, a co-worker of yours that you are friendly with, asks how you are and makes hurried small talk with you. You typically only ever talk to him on the phone when one of you needs a shift covered, so it's slightly awkward. You are waiting in anticipation for him to ask you to come in on short notice, when he veers the conversation in a completely different direction. "How do you feel about cats?" he asks. "Mine had kittens a few weeks ago, and I'm having an awful hard time finding a home for the last one of the litter." "You don't have any pets, right?" It takes you a moment to process this new information, and you are caught off guard as he begins to earnestly try to sell you on the idea of taking the last kitten off his hands. It's not something that you have specifically considered before, and he seems fairly insistent. "She's a real sweetheart, really loves people. She's got all her shots ready, taken care of, and the vet says she's healthy as a horse. I can bring her over by your place tonight if you're interested." You look around your apartment and try to picture a cat in it as he continues to tell you about how cute she is. You tell him that this is all of a sudden, and that you don't have anything for the kitten set up here. "Oh, don't worry about it. I can bring over a litter box and food and all that, since you'd really be helping me out to fix. It's the least I could do. I just don't want to have to put her in a shelter." You can't help but feel like you're being guilt tripped, but you decide to give it some serious consideration. It does get awfully lonely around your apartment, and it might feel less empty with the cat around. However, since you've been feeling so down, it might not be a good idea to take on the responsibility of a cat, even if they are fairly low maintenance. What do you do? So, let's read the choices and then discuss that. So, first one is take the cat, knowing full well that you can take great care of it. The second one, decline. Even though you'd be totally capable of taking care of it, you're not much of a cat person. 3, become a cat owner. You could use the companionship. 4, decline. You're not in a good enough place to be taking on more responsibility right now. Decline. You don't like cats. So, a friend asking something like this to take the last kitten for you, and they'll supply it all for you and everything. It sounds really nice. But when you've never taken care of a pet and you're not feeling that great, and then they're afraid to put the cat in the shelter, it doesn't put you in a good spot of what to do, because there's a chance the kitten might not get adopted, but there's also a chance the kitten could get adopted. But your friend doesn't really want it in there. This makes you not feel that great, especially if you're going through something already. And for me, I love cats. I also love dogs. I love a lot of pets. But in this situation, feeling like that, even though my friend Sam is gonna give me the cat and everything to take care of her for starting off, I'd be worried if I was by myself, could I take care of an animal? If someone was living with me, that'd be different. I'd be more open to it, especially if I knew the other person wanted a cat, or any pet for that matter. Because I'm alone, it wouldn't be that good of an idea, because I'm already not motivated to do my project no more. What's the chances of actually staying motivated to take care of a cat. But I wouldn't lie and say I didn't like cats, but I couldn't become a cat owner. I'd have to decline it because I'm not at a good place. Oh. I'm sorry. I just can't right now. I hope you can find a good home for her. You sit through a few more self-pitch statements that broader on guilt trips and rebuke them with fabricated excuses about your landlord not allowing pets before your co-worker gives up and thanks you anyway. You wish him luck in finding a new home for her, and as you hung up, you feel pangs of guilt as you imagine him having to put her in a shelter. You wonder if the chances of the kitten ending up in a shelter was worse than the chance of you being unable to care for an animal, and you feel pretty awful about yourself regardless. Which, that's true. In that case, that's how I'd feel if I was being guilt tripped and everything, trying to be pushed to take an animal, knowing that my friend would have to put the cat in a shelter, or if I'd be able to take care of it, I would feel awful in that situation. So your apartment emptiness feels a lot more pliable suddenly, and you wonder if you could have pulled it off. You consider getting a pet in the future after more careful consideration and preparation. See, so now they're starting to second guess, they're starting to think back, was that the right decision? And they start thinking, maybe if I get things set up, maybe next time I can. The next day at work, you run into your coworker and breathe a sigh of relief as he informs you he is able to find a good home for the kitten. She's probably way better off than she is with me, you think. So we know now the kitten did get a good home. It didn't end in a shelter. A shelter is not. They take care of animals there, but it's not the best place, especially when they get full. So it'd be like a sigh of relief that at least the kitten is in a good home. Again, nothing has changed down at the bottom. Next. It's late Friday afternoon, and quitting time is just around the corner. A bright, clear day is giving way to a still, temperate evening, and you can hear your co-worker all around you anxiously making plans for their evenings and weekend. But you are really looking forward to just going home and resting after what turned out to be a very long and taxing work week. Just before the end of your shift, you get a call from Alex. It seems a group of your mutual friends are heading out to a nearby pub for dinner and drinks to celebrate the end of the week, and they want you to know if you'd like to come along. You tentatively tell her that you are mostly exhausted from the work week and socially outing like that would just take too much out of you today. You encourage her to go and have a good time, since you know it's been a while since she's gone out with friends. But the effort feels futile since you know that she isn't going to go without you. A couple hours later, the two of you find yourself in a similar position, on the couch watching comedy shows on Netflix, a box of pizza open on the coffee table in front of you. As you look across at her, as you look at the couch at her, you start to feel anxious. You feel bad about effectively forcing the two of you to stay in tonight. Again, while you are always appreciative of your partner's efforts to take your feelings into account and make sure you're socially comfortable, you sincerely worry that you're holding her back from enjoying the most fulfilling relationship. While she does seem to enjoy spending time with you, and the two of you sit in comfortable, almost consented silence watching old shows that you have each seen 2 or 3 times before, Your ever-increasing fear that your relationship is becoming one-sided weighs more and more heavily on you. You feel more than ever like a burden or a ward to her, and it is virtually impossible for you to see what value you could possibly offer to her in return. Worst of all, this nagging fear has made you feel more self-conscious than ever, withdrawing ever inward, and you start to pull away even from Alex herself. What do you do? So, in this one, they didn't give me a choice about the her friends, or even an option to go with her. Which, I guess because the person in the story, I guess on the choices I've picked, is starting to feel more down. Because even in that situation, I would still go, even if I didn't even want to, even if I feel like emotionally exhausted. I still would rather her be happy. Alex be happy. And just feeling like this is going sad and it's being one-sided, that instead of the relationship being about both of y'all or about her, it's slowly turning into about you, because you're not doing so well, or you're not wanting to go out, so it slowly is becoming however you feeling and what you're going through is now making the decisions in that relationship, which is sad, because Alex is really trying and caring, but you're not you're feeling that it's your fault that she's not able to go out now, that she's not having fun now. So what do you do? The first option, you know, despite the bad times, your girlfriend sincerely loves you. Relationships are a two-way street, and you resolve to always be there for her like she has been there for you. 2. Tell Alex how important she is to you and enjoy your evening. 3. Ask Alex if she is happy with your relationship. 4. Don't say anything. You are already worried about her being upset with you. Oh man. I really want to pick the first one, because the first two choices I really want to pick, but they feel so bad about the relationship going one-sided so badly that they don't feel like it's two-way streets. And they don't feel like they could be there for her like how she's been there for him. And he didn't enjoy his evening because it kind of ruined her evening, her plans. He feels that way because she wouldn't go out to hang out with her friends. Instead, she stayed in with you to watch movies and shows that y'all seen before. But he feels bad. He or she, whoever you are playing this, feels bad about that. But I don't understand how important she is to you. I guess because how he feels like it's becoming one-sided. He or she doesn't feel like it's not the same no more. That it's more turning into, it could possibly, the person you're playing as sees it as not a relationship no more. It's more about her worrying about him constantly and making sure he's okay, instead of actually being there, wanting to be with you. sorry if I keep saying he or she on the character I'm playing as. They set it up to where it could be a guy dating Alex, or it could be a girl dating Alex, and I like that they did that. So, what would I do? Since I can't pick the first two, you don't say anything you're really worried about being upset with you, or ask Alex if she's happy with the relationship. If I was going through that, I'd probably end up asking if she's happy. My reason is because if she's not, I'd rather end it so she wouldn't feel like she had to stay with me if she wasn't. I'd rather her be out happy than to be stuck with me worrying about me. So that's why I'm going to pick number 3, because if I stay quiet and not ask, I won't know, and I'll feel even worse. You look over at Alex, who hasn't noticed you watching her yet, and you try to praise the expression on her face. You're worried that it's one of sheer boredom and bare tolerance. You wonder if she's thinking about all the fun things she could have been doing tonight if she wasn't trapped on this couch with you, ordering from one of the same 3 takeout places that you always order from. A sense of disappointing her creeps over you as you picture what the night could have been if you just accepted the invitation she had made earlier. Which, in that situation, it'd be exactly what I'd be thinking and feeling. I know this is a pretty boring Friday night for you. Are you really happy being with me? Being like this? She turns to look at you, forehead wrinkled. Why do you ask me that so often? You feel her body stiffen and pull away from yours just a little. Well, I mean, you start but unable to try to think of how to answer. Oh, I didn't know. He's asked this a lot. I'm just gonna keep saying he because I'm doing the Let's Play, but again, if you do the Let's Play, it'd be a she or be a he, whatever you see yourself as, and that's who you are, then that's how you do it. But I'm just gonna be doing he since I'm doing the Let's Play. I'm sorry if I offend anybody by saying that. I truly am. But yeah, I didn't know that I had asked that question already, and seeing as she pulled away, she's starting not to like why we're asking that so much. Oh, I wasn't expecting that. Okay. First option, it's probably silly, but it's reassuring when I hear that we're on the same page. Second option, I want to make sure I'm right for you. Third, I know it's not what you usually be up to. 4, I don't know. I guess I get kind of worried that you are getting bored sometimes. 5, never mind. I want to pick the first option so badly. Because even though that's not what I was thinking, that's what I would want to say. The second option, I probably wouldn't even end up choosing anyways, so That one, I'm okay with being crossed out. So, she's wanting to know why we ask this so often. No, it's not what you would usually be up to. I don't know, I guess I get kind of worried that you're getting bored sometimes. Or never mind. I couldn't say never mind as much as I'd want to. Depending on the way that's said, that could come off. That might not come off good. Or it could come off hurtful, that you don't even want to talk to her about that now. So she's between 3 and 4. I know it's not what you would usually be up to. I don't know if you were getting bored sometimes. I guess 3 would be the one I'd end up picking. Maybe. I don't know, this one's difficult. Let me read it again. I know it's not what you would usually be up to. I don't know, I guess I get kind of worried that you are getting bored sometimes. I guess number 4 would be what I would pick, because if he's asking that much, it'd be a lot of worrying that she's getting bored. Because that's what it is. There's a lot of worrying, a lot of guilt. So I'm gonna pick number 4. I know some of y'all might be saying pick 3 or pick 5, but in this instance, that's probably what I'd end up picking. Oh. Alex sighs. Look, if that were the case, I would let you know. I don't think you are boring. You are more of a homebody than I am. I'm learning how to deal with that. Deal with it, you think? Repeating in your mind. Does she see you as a problem to be dealt with? You try to pick her reply apart in your mind, and all your conclusions lead to your previous word, that you are holding her back. You began thinking about the phrase was chosen without too much deliberation, and despite her attempts at reassuring you, the slips of the tongue reveals her true feelings. As you picture how much fun she would be having right now, if you had only accepted her invitation and managed to somehow get over your reservation and anxieties, despite not knowing how you would go about that, she cuddles back up to you. Thanks for putting up with me, you say, staring at the TV without actually watching it. She sighs in response. That's sad. I mean, it's nice that she would let us know she was. And that's really great to hear. She doesn't think we're boring. But she's learning how to deal with it. And I know to some of y'all that sounds like not that big of a deal, but just like how the character we're playing has thought of, that's a good way of how someone would be thinking about it. They would pick something that wasn't meant to be harmful, that wasn't meant to hurt you or anything, and you pick it apart and break it down, and your mind tends to think the worst cases out of it, the worst things out of it, and it makes you feel even worse. In some cases, that's what some people tend to believe. In other cases, You know that's not what they mean, but it's just how your mind is now, because how far you've gotten, how worse it's gotten, or whatever it may be. And so because of that, his reply for putting up with me makes sense, because that's how he feels. She's putting up with him. Not that she's trying to learn to cope with it and trying to learn how to help him and be supportive still and everything, but still keep a relationship. He's not seeing it that way. And she sighs in response, because that's not what she really meant. Now, this changed a little. You are deeply depressed. Even activities you used to enjoy hold little or no interest for you, and you exist in a near constant state of lethargy. You are not currently seeing a therapist. You are not currently taking medication for depression. This is getting deep. It's a breezy Sunday afternoon. You've allowed Amanda, an old friend from school that is in town for the weekend, to talk to you into leaving the house for coffee and catch up. You meet her in a small cafe and talk about what you've been up to since you've last seen each other. And you can't help but feel like there are a lot more accomplished and interesting than you are while listening to them talk about their life after school. When it's your turn to brief them on your activities, you feel anxious and ashamed, and you give a very abbreviated version. You try to talk about your job as little as possible, and you feel incredibly boring when you describe it, despite her expressing sincere interest in you and your life. Amanda has known you long enough to read your mood and tone of voice. She leans to ask a question while gently touching your hand, a look of genuine concern on her face. What's wrong? Do you suggest a change of location and confide in her honestly? Test the waters and open up a little, hoping she'll understand. Insist that nothing is wrong and change the subject. Defensively ask what she means by that. Notice that your hands are shaking. Having a good close friend like that can read what you actually mean and can tell, means a lot. But because they mean a lot and you don't know how they'll handle it, you tend to worry about if it'll be too much or if they would just be like everybody else. And because of that, you tend to hesitate or even reconsider not even saying anything. Or ask questions, why are you asking these things? So, for me, I would have, if someone close to me asked me something like that, and I was going through this, I wouldn't notice my hands, and I wouldn't be asking what they mean by that. I'd actually try to insist nothing was wrong and change the subject. Because I'd rather my close friend not worry about me and pretend everything was alright and try to change it. So, because if I was going through this, even if we're really close, it'd be hard for me just to honestly open up about it, or to even just test the waters a little. So, I'm gonna go with option 3 on this. And so far, from the last one I've read, this hasn't changed now. It's still the same again. So, option 3. You feel incredibly anxious and put on the spot as she leans forward. You consider talking about it, but what exactly would you talk about? Where would you start? She'd probably just think you were complaining about nothing anyway. No one likes a whiner. Which is true. That's what you would end up thinking, or you'd be worried or be thinking you're an attention seeker. Or just a complainer. Plus, where would you start at? It'd be hard to even know where to begin. So you insist that you're fine, and try to shift the topic to one of mutual interest. She seems as though she is still concerned, but she lets it drop. Later that night, you replay this encounter over and over in your mind and fantasize about what you would have said differently now that you've had time to ruminate on it further. And have a moment of self-awareness when you realize the degree to which you are trying to stuff down these emotions. You get very little sleep that night. And see, to me, even if I said that nothing was wrong, that everything was fine, and try to change topics, it would, my friend not asking would actually kind of hurt. I would really want and hope they would keep asking different ways, or to not give up on the questions so easily when they could tell something was wrong. Because they didn't ask, you feel like, I'm not sure if this is how this person's feeling right now, but to me it'd be like they aren't really there for you, or they don't really care enough because they didn't ask or try to push a little bit, or word it differently, or try to find out different ways. So, but because it didn't get pushed, because the friend didn't try, you start thinking about how could it have been different? So now you get even more or less sleep because you're constantly worrying, rethinking the situation now. It is Garnley Sunday Monday, and one of the few days that your brother Malcolm is in town for long enough for you two to actually see each other. You have a dental appointment that day, but you make plans for him to pick you up afterward. Your appointment takes a little longer than expected because your dentist tells you that you started grinding your teeth in your sleep to a worrying degree. Given how nearly everything in your life has been feeling enormous and stressfully, this doesn't come as a surprise to you. He suggests that you try to reduce your stress levels and fits you for a night guard. It feels awkward and too big for your mouth, and you feel embarrassed looking at your puffed out face in the mirror with it in. You finish up the appointment in a hurry and leave about half an hour overdue from meeting your always punctual brother in the parking lot. You finish up as quickly as possible and leave the building to scan the parking lot for your brother's car, and you don't see his old Civic anywhere. You pass by a blue Camaro and jump as it beeps at you, causing you to jump in surprise. It takes you a moment to realize it, but it's Malcolm in the driver's seat. You hop in the passenger seat and compliment him on his new ride, and he mentions that it's a perk of promotion he recently obtained at work. He starts telling you about how much more money he's making, how his career is really taking off, and how he's starting to look at houses with his wife soon. You clutch the bag containing a night guard in your hand and feeling yourself clenching your teeth as you think of the crummy apartment and how long it's been since you've been able to take a day off work without having to worry about making ends meet. He's only 2 years older than you, but it feels like he's eons ahead of you in every other aspect of your lives. So, he asked, how did your appointment go? Did you get drilled full of holes or what? A sense of shame creeps over you. That could easily bring you down, because here you are struggling, going through these issues, not the greatest job, your apartment's not the greatest, your life's not the greatest, and yet here's your brother that just got promoted, everything's going great for them, they're making a ton of money, and they're going to be looking at houses now. That could really hurt you and bring you down. Just the thought of that someone only 2 years older is doing that much better than you. So, do you laugh at him? Do you laugh about your dorky night guard with your brother? Tell him about the night guard and why you need it? Lie and tell him it was a routine cleaning? Tell him about your tooth grinding problems, but not the stress causing it. And as far as the parts in the bottom grayed out, it still hasn't changed. So, seeing as how everything's going really good in Malcolm's life, if you tell him that, you're having grinding teeth problems, he might ask why. There's no telling which way that would go. He wouldn't really understand. He wouldn't really understand how. He won't understand how it's going, and you don't want him to know what's causing it. So in this case, I'd end up saying it was just routine cleaning. It just took longer for whatever reason. So pick option 3. Oh no, just a cleaning. Your voice trails off as you stare out of the passenger side window, head resting on your hand. There's a brief silence and you can feel your brother's eyes on you. You hear him take a breath, preparing to say something, then hesitate. Though you may not be exceptionally close anymore, you know that he could tell you're holding something back. You brace yourself for Probe's question. you really don't have the energy to answer. Hey, why don't we get something fancy for dinner? My treat. You feel like a little kid again, being looked after by your older brother. A part of you prickles up and feels pathetic for this, but the large part of you that is stressed out, exhausted, and grateful for a familiar comfort of family. Malcolm never presses you further at night and takes your mind off of things for a while. So, even though he only asked, he didn't really ask what it was, why it really took long, and he could tell something wasn't there. Sometimes you'd really hope family would actually ask or care more and stuff like that, or question more. But the fact that he at least noticed and decided to take us out to eat somewhere just to get whatever it was off our mind would mean a lot. So that doesn't mean that if you know something is going wrong with somebody to automatically let's go do this or that, because you don't know how they feel. But just being there, spending time with them to get their mind off of it can help. We don't know how much it'll help, but it'll help a little sometimes. Nothing's changed again so far. It's early on a Wednesday morning. Lately, you've developed a nasty habit of waking up 10-20 minutes before your alarm rings. And unfortunately, today is no exception. You laid in bed each minute, ticking closer and closer to wake up time, and passing on a swell waves of ever-encroaching dread. Sooner than you will like, your alarm blares with caustic inevitability. You frantically pound the snooze button and then retreat under your blankets, as if the warmth of your comforter can shield you from the passage of time. You almost always have difficulty rising from bed, but today the simple task seems nothing short of Herculean. After several snooze cycles, you decide that you just can't deal with work today. You are incapable of arousing yourself from bed, let alone going into work and having to force yourself through a workday. Not to mention, you've snoozed so many times that it would make it impossible to make it on time now anyways. What do you do? And now we only got 3 options, but only one can be picked. So the first option says, hop out of bed and start getting ready for work. You'll be late, but it's better than not going at all. Second option says, head into work. At least you can leave early if it gets too unbearable. 3, call your boss to tell him you are sick and won't be in today. So, me, even though I've slept in too much and hit the button too much, I'd probably still head in, but I guess they're not feeling that well even more, so we only can pick the third one. In spite of the fact that you know that it's your job and that you should go, you keep fighting yourself every step of the way. Every time you resolve to climb out of bed and just go, your body seems to get heavier and your head gets foggier, and you find yourself unable to actually make yourself move. You grab your phone and dial your boss's number, hoping that it's early enough yet that he won't be there and you can just leave a message. Fortunately, after a couple of rings, voicemail picks up and you leave a message explaining that you are sick and won't be in today. As you hang up the phone, you worry that perhaps your message sounds like a lame excuse. You hope your boss won't call or email you to follow up with your message, but for now, you are too foggy to do too much of any sort of thinking, and eventually you fall back into a sleep that is both heavy and restless. When you wake up the next morning, short of feeling well rested, you actually feel more stressed out. While it was definitely nice to get a break from work, you've now faced with a new problem that you hadn't considered before. You still have to go to work today. While you aren't having the same problems physically getting out of bed you were having yesterday, the prospect of having to face your boss after missing a day of work does not seem appealing in the slightest. You worry that in your absence you won't be seen as believable or legitimate, that your co-worker and boss will think you were just trying to half-assedly play hooky. Or worse, you fear that someone will actually ask what's wrong. Being caught in that instance and having to either make up a half-baked excuse or worse, that they'll see right through you and know quickly has your mood matching the drizzly weather outside. You know that you know that you have to go into work, but you fear being perceived as either lazy or defective is making you greatly regret yesterday's decision to take the day off, and ultimately you feel worse for it. So you are deeply depressed. Even activities you used to enjoy hold little or no interest for you, and you're left in a near constant state of lethargy. You are not currently seeing a therapist. You are not currently taking medication for depression. So it seems that we are now not doing better because we're worrying about what is our boss is going to say or what is everybody's going to think of us now for missing a day. Because we weren't technically, I guess, sick, but we are going through something. But they don't know that. So I can see this causing stress to some and worrying about this. Because you don't know what's going to happen or what anybody's going to say or think. So let's find out what happens. It's 2 a.m. on a Sunday, and you have to work in the morning. You roll over to see the silky green glow of the time displayed on your LED alarm clock, and let out an exasperated sigh. You've been trying to fall asleep for over 3 hours now, to no avail. Every time your head hits the pillow, you are overcome with anxious thoughts that wrap themselves around each other. Worries about your job lead to worries about your future, it leads to worries about your very identity, and you are unable to shake them off long enough to doze off. Your eyes worry, even stay shut as your mind races through imagined scenarios going horribly wrong, which you probably attribute to your general worthlessness. Your thoughts run too fast for you to come to a satisfying conclusion on any one of them. The room is completely silent, but the silence is giving way to a loud static noise rattling around inside your head. Your heart beats loudly and you worry it's beating a little too fast. You worry that if you focus too strongly on your heart racing, you'll freak yourself out hard enough that you have a heart attack. You have to be awake in a mere 8 hours, and you know your performance has been sagging lately, and that this won't help the situation one bit. What do you do? So let's read the choices one would think of doing or wish they could do, but they're crossed out now. But we'll still read them. The first one is force yourself to sleep. The second one is go to bed. It shouldn't be that hard. Third one, just close your eyes and let it happen. Why won't your thoughts back off for 5 seconds? The fourth one, snap out of it. What is wrong with you? Why can't you stop stressing out for 5 seconds? 5, you're probably going to go into work tomorrow exhausted and fuck everything up and get fired. And 6, go to your computer. Sleep is clearly not happening no matter how long you lay here. So before I just talk which one I'd rather pick out of these, going back to him laying to us, or me laying there, who are playing us, when you're constantly anxious and think about something, whether you're going through something or not, when you're trying to sleep, it keeps you from sleeping. It makes it more difficult. And obviously if you're going through something, it's even worse and harder from what it sounds like. And I can see it being really difficult and hard for some. So going to these choices, looking at it like that, if you weren't going through something, you could probably force yourself to go to sleep, or to go to bed. It shouldn't be that hard. If you weren't going through, but because you are, 3 through 6 could potentially be actual choices that you could be thinking of. But for me, I would rather pick, even though 6 is the only one we can choose, if I could choose, I would rather pick I'd probably pick 3. To just close my eyes and let it happen. I'm asking myself, why can't my thoughts just stop and let me sleep? 4, I don't see me or us asking ourselves that. That'd be more something someone would ask us that. 5, I can see something that we could be thinking of, but that'd be something I'd be thinking of more close to work at that point. But since we can only pick 6, we're going to go with, and looking down at the bottom part in this grayed out section here, so far none of that's changed. So okay, you get out of bed and head to your desk. Laying in bed with nothing but your thoughts to keep you company makes you feel like you're going insane. The harshness of the light come from the screen makes you squint as you turn it on. Despite how often you find yourself in this exact situation, there have been so many nights lately just like this. As you begin reading a news story, an online friend of yours instant message you. So let's looks like their username is Attic. So go with Attic. So she said, he or she says, "You're up late again, I see." You says, "Yeah, can't sleep again." "Thinking too much?" "Thinking." You guessed it. "Wanna talk about it?" You end up talking with Attic for quite some time about how you have been feeling. He's always been easy to talk to about personal matters, and the added security of talking online helps. Being able to rethink about what you say and you type it out and check it before you send it out helps you gather your thoughts, and you find it less imitating in a way to type it in to a prompt than to say it out loud. Before I go further, that is true even with me when I'm talking to anybody. It's a lot easier to tell someone when I'm typing it because you can proofread what you say, you can edit it, you can reword it and do whatever you need to do before you send it. When you talk, once you say it, however it comes out, or whatever you say, it's hard to undo. And sometimes you can't take it back or you can't fix it depending who you talk to. So this I can see a lot of people do. A lot of people finding less imitating a lot easier to do. So it's going back to Attic is speaking for a little bit now. "I don't want to be that guy who thinks they can diagnose something because I read a Wikipedia article, but it kind of sounds like you might have depression. You should talk to someone about that, like a doctor." You pause. You're not sure if it's how tired you feel or being frustrated from mentally eating away at yourself earlier in the night, but what he says rings true. Maybe you should see a doctor about this. So here's Attic speaking again. "We can do some research and see if there's a good doctor near you. It's not like you're going back to sleep anytime soon anyway. Might as well do something while you are awake." Smiley face. So first option says, each of these options is us talking, or me talking. It says, this is the response to Attic. "This is just a low night. I am normally able to sleep and I don't have depression, but thank you for your concern." Or option 2, "No, that's okay." Or option 3, "It can't hurt to talk to someone, I guess." Now before I discuss the choices of which one I'm going to pick for my Let's Play, for my story that I'm doing, I know everybody's going to have their own opinion no matter what choice I pick for this. And some may disagree with what I choose, but everyone has their own reasons. So before I even discuss which one I'll pick and everything like that, just please be respectful. And if you would have picked something different, then maybe when you play this game yourself, this story, you can pick the option you want and see which way the story goes. But I just wanted to point that out before I discuss this. So looking back at the story, our friend Addict thinks we have depression, and we can tell from our own conversation with ourselves that might be true, and we might consider seeing a doctor. So the character we're playing as knows there's something not right. Whether our character knows depression or not, we don't know 100% for sure. But picking this first option wouldn't make sense based off of that, because that's a flat out lie. And then that's also denying that something's wrong, which our character obviously knows is not true. So it wouldn't really fit with our character playing this. Now, for whichever one I pick on these, again, some might not agree with me. Everyone has his own reasons. I am going to pick option 2. Because no, that's okay. Now before I pick that, something changed on the bottom here. It says, you are profoundly depressed. You are barely functional. On days you can't even get out of bed at all. You're currently not seeing a therapist, and you are not currently taking medication for depression. So again, I'm picking option 2. I know some of y'all won't agree with that, but again, if you decide to play this Let's Play, you can choose the other option if that comes up for you. But that's what I'm going to pick with, and that's what I'm going to stick with. So let's keep going forward. Okay, so Attic is responding to our response now. Okay, just think about it, alright? There's nothing wrong with having depression. You wouldn't be ashamed to have bronchitis or something. So there's no reason to be ashamed if it's your brain that's sick instead. You tell him that you appreciate his concern and start sharing YouTube links with him instead. You idly continue to surf around online until you fall asleep at your desk. The alarm sounds at 8 a.m. and you awake in a haze of confusion before remembering how you ended up at your desk. You drag yourself to the shower grumpily. So, even though we told our friend Attic this, they were still nice enough to still care about us, to still ask us to think about it. Which is good, because Attic is being respectful in what we chose to say instead of trying to push it on us. If you tried with anyone in general, it doesn't matter if they're going through something, you try to push something on someone, it may not always work in the favor you want, or things may not go the way you want. But when someone's going through something, if you try to push them to go see someone, or go do this or that, or go see a doctor, you could end up potentially pushing them away or close off or something, and you don't want that. At least telling them to at least think about it and to let them know nothing's wrong with that, and basically it's okay still, but not actually pushing it on them is a better way to go about it, since whoever is going through something like this will at least know that you care and you're still going to be there, and you're not going to just stop talking to them or give up on them just because they chose not to follow your advice on that, which again goes a long way. So as far as this grayed out section down here, this hasn't changed since the last page, so let's keep going forward. It's a chilly Thursday night, and just gotten off of work. This has felt like one of the longest days you face in recent memory. Even though nothing exceptional has happened, a ton of minor things keep going wrong, and co-workers had tried your patience throughout the day. You consider leaving work early, but you've already had enough absence lately on the days you feel too crushed by the job to get out of bed and didn't want to risk it. You're lost in thought on the commute home, and your feelings of frustration both with your life and the world around you build as you run into minor annoyances like someone bumping into you really hard as they walk by. By the time you get home, you are exhausted, and in a moment of metacognition, realize that if you don't snap out of it, you're probably in for a long and trying night as well. These pent-up feelings aren't dying down, and are eating at you. You open your front door and stare at your apartment. An overwhelming feeling of exhaustion overcomes you, and you feel like your energy levels are low enough that you will likely settle into a single activity tonight. What do you do? Okay, so as far as this gray section out, nothing's changed still, but now two choices cross out again. We'll have one to pick, but let's still read them out. The first one is just shake off your bad mood and do something fun for the rest of the evening. 2, reach out to someone close to you. 3, don't burden anyone with your problems. Distract yourself. Now, obviously depending on you, depends which one you would pick out of these. Whether you're going through something like this or not, it all depends on you personally. As far as for me personally, I'd actually go with number 3, even if the other 2 weren't crossed out as an option. My reason being is I wouldn't want to burden anyone with this. I wouldn't want to make anyone's days negative. I wouldn't want to bring them down because of me or have them worried. If I reach out to someone close, I'd be worried about that. I'd be worried about losing them. There'll be so much worrying going on, and I could potentially ruin their day, which is the last thing I'd want to do. And then just shaking off your bad mood or do something fun. If I was like this, and this is how the day went for me, it'd be kind of hard to shake off a bad mood and do something fun. I'd have to end up distracting myself instead. So that's what I'm going to go with, especially since that's the only choice we have anyways. But even if the others were available, this would still be the one I'd go with. Okay. What do you really want more than anything is to turn off your brain and just disappear for a while. You sink rigorously into your couch and start playing video games, but you can't seem to focus on what's happening on screen. You cycle through a few different games, but tonight everything seems either too tedious or too aggravating for you to play for more than a few minutes. A few of your online friends invite you to play a game with them, but the prospect of having to talk let alone cooperate with other people, seemed incredibly unpleasant. You decide to give the video game a rest for the evening, though you worry that you have offended your online friends and your next conversation will be awkward because of it, giving you yet another source of stress to weigh down on your tonight. You boot up Netflix and cycle through some of your favorite shows and movies that you would flag as wanting to come back to. But again, nothing seems to be able to hold your attention. You feel what can only be described as mentally fidgety, like there's an unscratchable itch somewhere on your brain that has become increasingly hard to ignore. You send off a quick text to Alex, hoping that conversation will help pull you out of your head enough to relax. But you know she's in class tonight, and the chances of her replying are slim. You head to the kitchen for food and come out with not so much a sandwich as just peanut butter on 2 pieces of bread. You pace anxiously around your apartment while you eat, irritated by whatever this nerve-wracking feeling is, and by your ability to just ignore it and unwind. Your evenings are filled with half-successful attempts at distraction, and you ultimately head to bed late, head filled with static. Seems like we got a huge change now in this grade box. You are severely depressed. Your motivation levels are non-existent. You alternate between feeling totally apathetic to panicking about things out of your control. You lack energy to do much more than sleep the day away. Yet your constant feelings of worthlessness prevent you from getting any actual rest. You feel like dying, but ironically are too drained to actually act on these feelings. You are not currently seeing a therapist. You are currently not taking medication for depression. So, our character attempted distraction obviously didn't work. Which is sad that nothing that they like to do or like to watch wasn't helping. And that Alex was in class. We already went to the assumption she wouldn't respond. So I didn't think it was gonna go this way by distraction, because with me, when I distract myself, whenever I actually have to, I tend to play things or do things that I like or enjoy or something, but they can actually distract me or ease my mind if I went this way. Sometimes I talk to someone, but that depends on who it is and if they're available. If they're available, they usually tend to be able to help me a lot better than they realize sometimes, but distractions usually what I end up going to a lot. And again, because that's how I'd be even be distracted is one way, but for sometimes distractions doesn't work, which for our character it doesn't work. So let's go click next. It's Wednesday evening and you're visiting at your parents' house for the holiday. The as one of the handful of times during the year that you drive out to visit your old hometown, and you've seen random people you had gone to school with around town. Whenever bumping into them, they usually a short version of what you've done since graduating or exchange. You've gone through a few of these today and have been very aware of how much you feel you haven't accomplished. When you were in high school, you had much larger plans, and you feel like you failed to manifest most of them. Even if you had managed to, you largely lost interest in what you thought you wanted to do growing up. Now you are not really sure what you want to do, and you felt like you are lacking the ambition or drive to figure it out. Everyone you've caught up with seems so much happier than you, like they've gotten their lives all figured out, and you have kind of been feeling like a failure by comparison. Your brother Malcolm arrives with his wife in town shortly before you all sit down to dinner. He's been traveling for his new job lately, and you haven't seen him since the day he picked you up from the dentist. Your parents haven't seen him since before then. During dinner, they all catch up, and Malcolm talks about the amazing things he's done on the road. Your mother turns to you and asks what you've been up to since you've seen them last. Oh, same old, you say. Nothing really new going on. Your mother makes a face. Oh, nothing new? How long are you planning on staying at that job of yours? What do you say? So the options. And they're all crossed out except for the fourth one. But we'll still read them anyways, just like always. The first one. Tell them about the exciting new job you're gunning for. The second one. Lie. Tell them what you want to hear, what they want to hear, that you're actively looking for a more prestigious position. Third one, admit that you don't know what you want to do. The fourth one, excuse yourself to the bathroom. And the bottom hasn't changed since the last page, even though it still looks long. But going back to the story real quick. A lot of people in high school, when they're about to graduate and get done, they have plans what they want to do. They want to go to this college, or they want to do this job, or grow up to be like this, or grow up to be like someone they know. But for some they can actually do that. But then there's some that can't. And some that get close. But the ones that can, when they see or talk to old classmates or friends, and how well they're doing, how better their lives are, or if they've gotten married or anything yet. When you look at your own life, like our character's doing, and then you haven't gotten much done, or you never did what you really wanted to do. After hearing about how everyone's life is going better, it can put a toll, because you feel like you've done nothing with your life, which is how our character feels. And then having someone in your family like Malcolm doing extremely well compared to us, character, makes it even harder, because now our parents are wondering why can't we be the same or do just as good. So going to the options. If I was in our character spot at after hearing how Michael was doing, and the mother asking us how long we're planning on staying at that job we're at, and why nothing new, pretty much. And the state of mind where you gotta keep that in consideration for the character. Me, in this case, I wouldn't admit that I didn't know what to do, but I wouldn't tell them about a new job I'm gunning for. I would either lie and tell them what they want to hear, or excuse myself to the bathroom. Even with me, I couldn't excuse myself if I was talking to my mother and they asked me a question, so I would end up picking option 2 in line. Tell them what they want to hear. But obviously we don't have that option, so we're gonna go with the only one we can pick. Number 4. Excuse yourself to the bathroom. As your mother looks across the table at you expectantly, everything inside you wants to run away. You have had this conversation with her enough to know that anything you say would either be a lie or would result in a lecture. After spending the day feeling like you are a failure already, you can't really handle more of the same from your family, regardless of how well they mean. Actually, I'll be right back. I have to use the restroom. You excuse yourself from the table despite not actually having to use the facilities and head to the bathroom. You lock the door behind you and flip down the toilet lid. Take a seat and rest your head on your hands. You take a few deep breaths as your mind runs through its typical self-depreciating scripts, though you still feel as though it's a moment of relief. Even though you love your family, you really feel like they don't know you at all sometimes, and this makes them exhausting to be around on nights like this. You wish you could tell them what you are feeling, that sometimes it feels like you are lost in the woods, and that if you were to drop dead in your apartment, the world wouldn't notice. You want to make her understand that more often than not, you feel like an alien. Like there isn't anywhere in this world that feels like a place where you belong, and you have no idea how to fix it or what to do. You wish you could find the words so they would understand you, but you end up feeling like an outsider instead. Instead, you decide to remove yourself from the situation and calm down. You couldn't see a resolution where attempting those things would work, and you need a moment of space instead. You hear a knock on the door. Malcolm's voice comes through the door. Hey kiddo, you right in there? You've been in there for a while. Yeah, I was just feeling a little sick. Well, if there's anything I can get you, let me know. They're about to serve pie though, if you're feeling up to it. Yeah, I'll be out in a minute. Malcolm is quiet for a moment. Hey, just so you know, I'm really proud of you. You hear his big footsteps walk away from the door, and you splash some water on your face before leaving to rejoin your family. Now, before we go next, I gotta say, what Malcolm did was a really nice, good thing to do. Even though his life is doing really great and really well, and he sees that ours isn't as great or as good as his, he still was very kind enough to give us a compliment. And a small compliment like that can go a long ways. especially hearing it from someone that's doing really well, that still feels and says they're really proud of you still. It can mean a lot. So, just know that simple, small comments, even though you might think wouldn't matter, does go a long way. And if you're in a moment, a situation where you can say stuff like that, and that is how you feel and mean, then do it and say it. Don't hold it back. It's a rainy night. You're hurrying through the rain to Alex's apartment at her behest. Though your pace is quick, the rain is steadily soaking up your pants leg as you traverse the town, and is darkening your already poor mood. The call came while you were at home after a day of dealing with abnormally frustrating people. You spent the afternoon trying to unwind and get some work on your project done. Alex called and interrupted one of your try to make progress, get frustrated at not making progress, have a hard time making progress due to frustration, repeat loops, and you haven't fully shaken off the feeling of being annoyed with yourself from it yet. You knock on her door, and on the third knock, hear her voice call from further in the apartment to come on in. As you cross the threshold, dripping rainwater all the way, you notice that the lights are turned down very low in the apartment. You squint to navigate as you clutch under the damp umbrella, but end up hitting your shin on the side table, mumbling a profanity under your breath. You barely make it out. Alex emerging from the hallway, clad in what looks to be a robe with the bare skin of her legs peering out underneath. "Why don't you come in and warm up?" she asked in her designated, slightly cheesy, sexy voice. After a beat of silence, she states more naturally, "My roommates are out of town this weekend, so I thought it might be nice to have a little fun while they are away." You appreciate her affection, but you are too wrapped up in your own negative feedback loops to be in the mood right now. What do you do? Let's read option 1. You let go of your stress and be intimate with your girlfriend. Option 2. Try to unwind with her before getting physical. Option 3. Suggest you do something else instead. Option 4. Tell her you're not in the mood. See, I feel bad for Alex because she's trying to help out. She's trying to be a really great girlfriend, and she didn't know how our character was doing, or how we would do. So she's trying to have a good time and a good night, pretty much, and the only option we have available is tell her we're not in the mood. And if our character knew what this was going to lead to, they could have easily told her on the phone instead of going all over there and getting wet and getting worse because of the rain. Me being me, even if I wasn't in the mood really, depending how bad I was, I'd either try to unwind before getting physical, That's probably what I would end up picking, because you can't, if you're in this kind of mood and this is how you're doing, it's not that easy to just let go of your stress and be intimate with your significant other. Whether it's a girlfriend or boyfriend, it doesn't matter. You can't just like immediately let go of your stress just to be intimate. So, me personally, if I had the option, I'd pick to try to unwind before getting physical. But since we have no choice, we're gonna go with 4. But looks like the bottom is shortened down a bit. I'll just reread it real quick. You're profoundly depressed. You are barely functional. On days you can't even get out of bed at all. And the bottom 2 haven't changed. So, I'd hate to tell whoever I'm with this part, because I wouldn't be able to. That'd be hard. Let's see where this goes. You start unsure how to phrase how you're feeling in a way that doesn't hurt her. That's the hard part, is how do you tell your significant other without hurting them, or who you care about? Even after those 2 words, her face is falling. Right. This is sudden, she says, clutching the top of her robe closed. No, it's not you. She cuts you off. It's not you. It's me, right? It's okay. I get it. She moves to her bookshelf and blows out some candles, yet failed to notice. It was cheesy anyway. The hurt in your voice cuts you down to your core. You can tell she feels rejected by you, and everything feels like it's happening so quickly and slipping through your fingers. You wish you were telepathic, sorry about that, and couldn't let her know exactly how you feel about her, so that she wouldn't be wounded by your own mood. This was all really nice. I just have had a hard day, and you stammer, but she leaves the room, and you hear the bedroom door close. Unsure what else to do, you sit down on a couch to wait for her to return. You feel terrible for hurting her, when she clearly meant nothing but good. Although you didn't want to have sex with her right this moment, you are beating yourself up for handling it so poorly. Why couldn't you find the right words to let her down gently, without her thinking that she had done something wrong? Why do you have to be such a shitty partner? She emerges from her room, now dressed. Her eyes are red, but you can tell she is trying to not show that she was crying. I actually have to do a lot of coursework, so maybe you should head home. This was kind of a dumb idea anyway. Sorry. Okay, you mutter, not wanting to make things worse. A couple of seconds of silence pass, and neither of you are sure what to say from there. You leave with a quick goodbye and curse yourself the entire way home. You see, that's why I wouldn't have picked to turn whoever I was with down. Because I know that's how things would go. I know they would feel hurt. And for me, that would be the last thing I'd ever want to do, is hurt someone. just like how our characters feeling. Not exactly what they were saying, but how they're feeling is how I'd feel. And to add more to that, I would end up feeling like I just ruined everything. Let's see what this grayed out section said. As far as the bottom two, they haven't changed, but this top part has, so a little. You are severely depressed. Your motivation levels are non-existent. You alternate between feeling totally apathetic to panicking about things out of your control. You lack energy to do much more than sleep the days away. Yet your constant feelings of worthlessness prevent you from getting any actual rest. You feel like dying, but ironically are too drained to actually act on these feelings. So it sounds like it went back to what it originally was before it got shortened down. Let's go to the next. It's an early winter evening, and even though it's not particularly late, the time of year has lent the sky an almost prematurely darkened cast. Day after day, just like today, you trudge home from your job you have increasingly come to hate. On this day, your job misery seems to have reached critical mass, and not even shredding your rain-laden and uncomfortable work clothes helps you to unwind from your work day. You collapse into your couch, blink and numb. While your job always seems to be just an unpleasant reality of existence, there was a problem you sort of fell into unexpectedly. Never intending to work there long term, it's getting harder and harder to keep it up. While it's certainly not your dream job, you've always just sort of stuck out of necessity before, but it's become increasingly difficult to do that. Though you couldn't even begin to imagine what else you could do, you find yourself face to face with a question you just can't ignore. Is your compliancy worth the price of this level of misery? What do you do? So, first option says get proactive. Polish off your resume. Start looking for other jobs to send feelers and flyers out to. Option 2, try and at least be productive by focusing on your efforts on your project tonight. Option 3, aimlessly look through class fields for another job. 4, turn on the TV and let your mind go blank. So, obviously losing motivation about the job, they're obviously hating it, they're also starting to dread it, it's starting to affect them a lot. They're not happy there, they don't see that they want to work there long. And you gotta keep in consideration how they're doing and feeling on the choices, but we only have one choice anyways, and that's to turn off the TV and go let your mind go blank. Basically try to forget about everything. For me, if that's how my day is going, that's how my work's going, that's how I'm feeling when I come from work, I wouldn't be able to work on whatever the project is. And I wouldn't be able to be proactive. And I might be able to get myself to look at other jobs at least, just aimlessly looking. But more than likely, I'd probably turn on the TV or something and just let my mind go blank. read over this quickly. As far as the bottom section, the grayed out, none of that has changed. So let's pick number 4 and see what happens. You grab the TV remote, wanting nothing more than to forget all about the terrible day you had at work. You flip on the TV and you let yourself get swallowed up by the couch. You grab your laptop to surf the internet while you watch TV, paying no real attention to either. You watch a few reruns of shows you have at best indifferent towards, and a movie on TV that's a few years old, all while you scroll idly through your Twitter feed. At the end of the night, you don't really feel any better, but so much as you just feel numb, which is basically what you're going for anyways. Ultimately, it gets late enough that you tell yourself you should probably call it a night. You beat yourself up over the fact that you didn't accomplish anything this evening, but at least you managed to forget about your job for a couple of hours. As you fall asleep, you're actually aware of the fact that after a mere few hours sleep, you have got to do it all again. So, our character or us plan to watch TV and let our mind go blank, seem to report, which is good, because that is what you're wanting to go for, and not really want to feel anything about that. But going to bed thinking that you don't have to do it all over again, it sounds so unpleasant, and nothing to look forward to for the next day. And again, none of this in the bottom has changed, so we can click next. It's a little past 8 p.m. on a Tuesday night. You're at your computer, frustration levels peak, rubbing your eyes and sighing heavily. You're working on a project from your job that has you stretched to wit's end, trying to meet a looming deadline. And as it looks closer and closer, you are seriously doubting your ability to get it done. You have dragging your feet a little at work due to your complete lack of energy lately, in spite of wanting to do a good job. You find yourself unable to push past it and feel horribly useless for it. You slide your hands off your face to look at your screen as it beeps at you. It's a friend, Attic. Hey, are you there? I really need to talk to someone about something. You feel like you're getting nowhere with your current task, and you probably use a break. However, you know that you have a history of getting distracted and then losing motivation to pick something back up again afterward. What do you do? Multitask is option 1. 2 is tell Attic you're busy. 3, try to regain your focus. Don't answer. 4, answer Attic. So, it sounds like we aren't working on a project that we were working on before to distract ourselves or to help ourselves get better. It sounds like we're working on something for work now, and it sounds like it's at home, which bringing work with you to your own home is the last thing you want to do, because it's never fun when you have to bring your own work with you to your own home. But sometimes it just has to get done. But when you're like this, when you're like this and not motivated at all, but then friend messages you saying they have something they really need to talk to someone about. If it's something really, really important, I wouldn't be able to multitask because either I would end up paying attention more to what I'm doing or paying attention to more what whoever I'm talking to, what they're saying. Because it's from what they worded it as it's something they really need to talk to someone about, I wouldn't tell them that I'm busy or ignore them. I would end up answering them, even if it means I lose the motivation to pick up back where I left off. It's more important to hear what they need to say and what they need help with. So, I'm going to answer at it. You feel like you've hit a brick wall with your task, so why not take a break and help out a friend? Which is exactly what I was saying. So, this is us talking. Hey, what's up? Oh good, you're there. I just found out I got cheated on. I don't know what to do. Oh no. That's terrible. That's horrible. The two of you talk for a long time and you lend a shoulder to your friend. You give him a space to rant, to cry, and most importantly, to be able to voice his inner turmoil. You give him your full attention and talk to him through what his options are for what he does next. You keep him from doing something rash, and the two of you decide it's best for him to sleep on it before doing anything. Exhausted, he departs for bed and thanks you for being there to talk with him. As you close the instant message window, you feel horribly sorry for your friend, but happy that you're able to help. It serves as a tangible reminder that you are capable of being useful to someone instead of solely being a mess that needs everyone else's help. You boot up your work project and find that you're suddenly unable to get some solid progress done on it that night. So, again, if someone says they got something to talk really important about, or whether in the past it really has been or not, you should always listen to them and just hear them out at least. Because I would have never guessed Attic would have gotten cheated on, or would ever know that they were with someone, because we never knew that until just now. And Attic's always been there for us, and it just makes sense that we're there for them. So, even though our character's going through something, they're still caring and kind enough to listen and give full attention to others. And how they feel sorry for them, but feel happy they're here to help, is how I would feel as well. And that's how I do feel for Attic right now. But I'm happy our character was able to help him through, at least to be able to go to sleep and think about things before doing something. So, this bottom section hasn't changed, so let's go to the next page. It's yet another sleepless Thursday night. You're at Alex's apartment, wide awake in bed as she's sleeping peacefully beside you. She fell asleep hours ago, and you've been laying here unable to shut your brain up long enough to fall asleep. You've added the feeling of insecurity about your relationship to the rest of the noise in your head keeping you up tonight. It was kind of a tense night between the two of you. You arrived after a stressful day at work, and as you made dinner together, you barely said a word. You were stuck in your own head and had a hard time really being present with her, as your thoughts turn to all the ways you feel like you are deficient at being a good person and beating yourself up mentally for each one. She told you she could tell you in one of your moods, and said that she wouldn't push you, but missed talking to you as the two of you sat on the couch together. You wanted to tell her how much you love her, but you couldn't make the words come out right and end up sounding defensive instead. As you laid there next to her now, you traced your fingers across her arm just lightly enough not to wake her. You still haven't explained your depression to her, and it's starting to feel more and more like a secret you're keeping instead of something she simply doesn't know about you yet. It's becoming more and more apparent that it's impacting your relationship with her, and you feel guilty about this. However, you are also terrified that if she knew exactly how fucked up you are, that she would leave you. You're already worried that she's only with you because she doesn't realize how terrible of a person you are yet. And you're afraid that this will be the final thing to expose you. She stirs in her sleep and squints as she opens her eyes. With the confusion that comes with waking up, she asks if you're awake, and then if everything's okay. Let's read the options first. Option 1, open up to her with ease. Option 2, tell her about your situation. Option 3, tell her it's nothing and that she should go back to sleep. Now, what our character's feeling in this situation, if I was in that exact situation, I would actually be, I'm sorry for being quiet for so long, I would actually be really afraid to tell my significant other, because I would worry and stress and have so much fear that they would leave me after they knew about me, or if they realize after I tell them how terrible a person I am, that one thing I tell them, or whatever it is, ended up being what ended it all. Just as our character is unsure and afraid, I would just be just as or more afraid as they are. Because then, if they do leave you after you tell them, depending how they react, if they do leave you, you'd end up feeling alone and stressed and regretting even saying anything. Or they might think you are a horrible person or a monster, which is the last thing you would want to hear from your significant other or someone you cared about. That's the last thing you would want to hear if you told them. But it's also a secret if you keep it from them. And any relationship, if you keep a secret, depending on the secret, could ruin a relationship. Obviously, what our character is going through, it's really affecting the relationship. And Alex doesn't have a clue, so it's not fair to her. and she's blaming herself now, and their relationship's falling apart. Since this might be the only time we have this option, even if I was in this situation, as much as I would hate to know the reaction or response, I would still tell my significant other and just get it over with. So that's what we're going to do, is option 2. You feel like a jerk for accidentally waking her up, but you are afraid if you put this off any longer that you won't find the strength to tell her everything later. No, actually, everything isn't okay. Can I tell you something? Something important? Alex sits up, rubbing the sleep out of her eyes. For the rest of the night, you lay side by side, holding hands as you tell her everything. You tell her how it's more than just feeling sad sometimes, how you feel trapped by your own mind sometimes, how sometimes you feel nothing at all, and how you can shake it off. She listens the entire time, occasionally asking questions about how this or that works, or asking you to explain something further. She squeezes your hand and tells you she understands, and that she's sad you didn't tell her sooner. After laying silent for a moment, the weight of what you did hits you. You desperately want her to say something, to tell you how she feels about all of this, but you are too afraid of what the answer will be, to ask. You start convincing yourself that now that she knows everything, she's going to leave. There's no way someone could deal with how you really are. So how can I help? What do you need me to do? She asks. You think for a second, and the answer you come up with fills you with despair. I honestly don't know. I wish I knew how to fix this, but I don't know that you can do anything. I think it's something I just have to live with. She looks at you with sad eyes before kissing you on the forehead. Then I'll live with it with you. I don't know how you could possibly love me. She rolls over and wraps her arms around your neck, settling her head on top of yours. You don't need to. Just know that I do. Oh. Having someone close to you, especially a significant other, tell you this and react this way when you thought the worst possible option and outcome was going to happen. Honestly, it would mean the world. It would mean so much if you had someone in your life that was your significant other that would respond that way and react this way. I know not everyone would have this outcome. Some outcomes would be the other significant other getting upset, say making an excuse or something, or just leave you. Some might just out front lie to you and start looking a way to end the relationship. But with our character here, the person they're with, Alex, did the opposite, the most best possible happiest, hard to not cry response. And that would mean the world. If I had anyone that was a significant other tell me that would mean everything. And if I was going through something like this, I'm not sure how her character is gonna feel, but as far as me, if I was going through something that would greatly help me feel better, because at least I told them, and their response was the complete opposite of what I was thinking. And that they were gonna stay by my side still. So it looks like this bottom card has gotten a lot less, which could be good. We don't know yet. It says you are profoundly depressed. You are barely functional. On days you can even get out of bed at all. And the bottom two haven't changed. It's Friday night, and you are laying across your bed feeling pathetic. As you were leaving work tonight, a group of co-workers asked if you wanted to join them for drinks. Feeling antisocial and put on the spot, you declined. But you have a habit of doing this. You are often so convinced that you are weird and terrible, and that any invitation to hang out will end in disappointment for those inviting. You never feel like you know how to act in group outings, and you feel like a total creep since it seems to come so natural to anyone who isn't you. You find yourself petrified of breaking some unknown social rule that you don't often go out. Now, however, you find yourself alone at home. Your brain has begun telling you how pathetic and sad you are for being unable to just be a normal person and go out with the nice people. You can't figure out why you can't just go out and meet people and enjoy yourself. At the same time, you are also feeling like no one would possibly want you to hang out if they really knew you, because they are dull and weird anyway. You try your typical strategy to boot up Netflix to distract yourself from these feelings, but frustration with yourself builds, and you realize you have to do something else with your night. Anything else to take your mind off of how awful and lonely you feel right now. What do you do? First option. Get over it and go out to the bar where your co-workers are hanging out anyway. See if Addict is online. Call Alex. Drink. Or go out somewhere alone. I said, what I don't get is why isn't Alex an option? Because we just told Alex what we're going through. We just heard her response. For me, I would pick call Alex, because she now knows. It's not a secret no more. I would never go out with my co-workers if I was like this, especially drinking worse than today. And obviously wouldn't tell Addict because we just told them, we just declined on the therapist. So if we talk to them, they might be wondering why we lied, or they might start asking questions again. And plus, they have something else going on in their own life, which that's more important they deal and worry about that than to worry about us. So The only two options we have is to drink or go out somewhere alone. And me personally, I'm against drinking, especially if you're like this. It's not something I would even choose to do. Because more than likely it's going drinking somewhere out and about, which is just a bad idea to do if you're like this. If it was at home, if it said it was at home, maybe then. But actually, if it was at home, it'd be more likely then. Because I don't know, I'm assuming they would have to go somewhere. So we're just gonna go with go out somewhere alone, on the assumption that the drink option will lead to them leaving the house and going somewhere to drink, which is what I don't want to happen. So somewhere alone. As far as the bottom, it hasn't changed again. Your entire apartment feels claustrophobic, as though you're being choked by how isolated you feel, how trapped you feel just being here with yourself. You can't stand to be here any longer, so you grab your coat and just start walking. If you take a walk and get some air, maybe you can get away from the crushing feeling in your chest. You walk for longer than anticipated, headphones and blaring a favorite track. Before you know it, you've walked over a mile. The entire time your thoughts dart from personal failure to personal failure, and you feel like you are trying to get away from yourself. However, you end up walking long enough that after the initial stress, the static in your head begins to calm down instead. Instead of being the overbearing noise that it was back in the apartment, you settle into a calmer state where you're able to zone out and listen to the music. Your steps sync to the rhythm in your headphones, and it feels almost as if you were meditating. The weather threatens to start raining, and you turn back, managing to catch the very start of the rainstorm. Your calm persists as you arrive back at home and go through the motions of getting ready for bed, and you're able to sleep with relative ease that night. See, that's a better way to go. Whether you're going through something, whether your day was stressful, or your day was going horribly bad, or constantly thinking about the negative things, if you're able to go out for a little bit by yourself, that's the best thing to do. Especially listen to music. A lot of people say listening to music is like one of the best things to do, because it can help you relax depending on what you listen to, depending on what you like. Which, for our character, it really did help him. It really did help our character. And they were able to sleep. We were able to go to sleep a lot easier this time. Which is better than going drinking. Drinking is not telling how that would go at all. It could go extremely horrible. So, as far as the bottom, again, nothing's changed. So, next page. It's a cold Saturday afternoon. You've just arrived at Alex's apartment, and you're happy to finally see her after a week of absence due to your schedules not lining up due to work and school. You hug her in the doorway, but she breaks away sooner than normal and sits down on the couch as you take off your sneakers and lay them in the usual place right next to hers. There's something I was hoping we could talk about, actually, she says. You feel anxious at hearing those words and move to take a seat on the couch. Your heart starts to race. Is this one of those we need to talk situation? Has she finally had enough of your baggage? Did the week apart make her realize how much better things are without you? She sits down from you on the couch. She sits down across from you on the couch, and you can tell by the look on her face that she isn't looking forward to saying what she's about to. and you feel your grip tighten on the couch cushion. So, she starts. She breaks eye contact and takes a deep breath, which spikes your anxiety. Things with us have felt kind of weird lately. It's like you've been really distant, and I'm not sure how to take it. I guess I just want to make sure you still want to do this. Us, I mean. She noticed you gripping the couch. I mean, I know you have difficulties with your situation, She looks at your face, seemingly searching. I don't know how much has to do with it, or if it has to do with me, or... I just want to know where we stand. She looks at you with uncertainty, and you can practically see the knot of pain in her chest. You try to rein your knee-jerk reaction to run. Unsure what to say to that, your mind races. You know you have to choose your words carefully. Though the self-desperation rages in your mind, you try to think through it. You try to sort out what you really want to do here. A myriad of feelings is boiling inside you. Which one do you listen to? What do you do? And again, the bottom hasn't changed, so let's read the options, which we have a lot of options this time. We commit to relationship with ease and grow closer for the experience. End things for her own good, and you're clearly not making her happy. 3. You are having difficulty managing your relationship and your personal life. Break things off for you. 4. You still want this. Reassure that you're committed to work through things. 5. You still want this. Say whatever you can to make her stay, regardless of your concerns. 6. Yes, there has been a distance. Attempt to solve it by asking her to move in. Oh. So 2, all you want it to work. And 1's ending it. Well, for me, ending it would be a completely out of the option. I wouldn't even consider that at all. Nor would I ever want it to end either. So option 2 and option 3 are completely out the window. Option 1 just sounds weird, because it kind of sounds like you want it to work, but kind of not really, but you kind of want to take things slow so you can grow closer, which it just sounds weird, so I wouldn't consider 1. It'd either be 4, 5, or 6 is what I would pick, which, to be honest, I'm surprised I'm not moved in already. But the problem doesn't sound like it's the moving in issue. It sounds more like she feels relationship-wise as distance. And she wants to know where they stand as a couple. So if you try to solve it by telling her to move in, that might not solve it, in my opinion, since that's not really letting her know where they stand. That's just saying, yeah, there's been distance, how about you move in? You know, that's not the distance she's talking about. So, for me, as much as I'd want to pick that, if the situation was different or asking her to move in or something like that, then I would pick that. But because that's not how I see it. Maybe some of y'all do, but I don't. I'm gonna pick number 5. Let's see, and tell her you still want this, to say whatever I can to make her stay, regardless of my concerns or what I'm going through. I'd want her to stay and know how much it still means. So that's what we're gonna pick. Panic sets in, and it sets in hard. Your mind begins frantically darting between insulting yourself for being so horrible at relationships and thinking of the right thing to say to make her feel better. All you want in the world right now is to keep her with you, to make her feel better. Even though you feel a bit selfish and dishonest, you use it as fodder against yourself instead of changing your course of action. I'll find some way to start spending more time with you, I promise, you tell her, tears welling up in the corners of your eyes. I know I can be really stupid sometimes, but I'll be better. I'll figure out some way to be better. Just don't go. That looks uncomfortable. I know I'm hard to deal with, that this stupid brain of mine makes me do stupid things, and you start to hate yourself for saying these things, for sounding so pathetic. Just tell me what I can do to make things right, and I'll do it. Anything. Your panic escalates as the more desperate you are to find the right words for her, makes her pull further away from you. You verbally falling for the right answers, and she calls them out as being platitudes. You can practically watch her slip through your fingers as you try to cling on tighter. It's as if you're watching yourself say these things and screaming, "No, stop. Can't you see you're driving her away?" But you can't stop. And before you know it, she's crying. I think we should break up. I can't do this anymore, she says, though it doesn't feel real. You feel as though all the blood has gone from your face, and your thoughts go silent. The rest of the conversation is subtle and forced. She says she's sure and that you should go. You barely hear the door close behind you as you stand in the hall, feeling utterly empty. You lean against the wall of the hallway leading to her apartment. Looking at her door, it doesn't make sense to you. It doesn't seem like the destination it used to be. Like the thing you waited eagerly behind after knocking, waiting for her beautiful face to peek around the corner. Now you feel like an alien staring at a foreign object, an impassable barrier. The reality hits you over the next few days, and you spiral into a very deep glow. You withdraw entirely and outside of work. You don't leave your apartment. You can't stop replaying the failures you made with her over and over in your head, wondering what could have been if you weren't such a fuck up. It's going to take you a long time to get over her. You are severely depressed. Your motivation levels are non-existent. You alternate between feeling totally apathetic to panicking about things out of your control. You lack energy to do much more than sleep, and the day is away. Yet you feel constant feelings of worthlessness prevent you from getting any actual rest. You feel like dying, but ironically are too drained to actually act on these feelings. You're currently not seeing a therapist. You're not currently taking medication for depression. Okay, that was unexpected. Because I chose to tell her what was really going on so she wouldn't blame herself. But scenes after telling her and a week went by. After she knew what was wrong, it seems like it was too much for her to deal with. And then me choosing to try to, in hopes that the character in the dialogue would have helped explain to her how the character playing us felt for her, that it would have worked instead of offering to move in. And see, now I'm kind of regretting not picking the moving in option. Maybe things would have gone different, but I don't know. That's the thing. You never know how things are gonna go, and when things go this way, it totally sucks and ruins everything. The one thing you cared about the most, the one person you cared about the most, is now out of your life. The one thing that you feared the most was them leaving you. And it happened. Things like this, when someone says they'll be there for you, and then it says that they love you, and they'll be there for you, but then do this, it makes it hard for anyone to open up their ghost to things like this. Because of the fear of this scenario happening, one way or another. Even if I was in this situation, this would be devastating. It's just all horrible. I'm kind of afraid to click next because now they're blaming themselves because they don't know how they could have done things better. And they're blaming themselves because how they are is why it ended. Maybe even questioning they shouldn't have ever told her what was wrong and just lied. Let's click next. Oh, it's December. Oh, it's even the worst of time, too. It's December, and you've returned to your parents' house to celebrate the holidays with your family. Out of the living room window, you can see a gently flurry of snow drifting down to meet the pristine blanket of white from yesterday's unexpected Christmas Eve snowfall. And you quietly laugh to yourself at how incredibly cliche it seems. It's still, as you sit down to dinner, you can't help but notice how being surrounded by family and the overly catchy atmosphere your mom's decoration have created have actually made you feel relaxed and almost comfortable. Your mom is running around frantically checking the oven and the stocking and just gently trying to family time it up. While your dad sits at the head of the table drinking a beer and laughing with your brother Malcolm. His wife Karen is there too, whom you have always gotten along well with. As you thoughtfully munch away at your turkey, listening to the conversation around you, your thoughts drift back over the last few months. You think about how hard things had gotten, playing over in your head some of your worst as well as some of your best memories. It seems like all of these things just came to a head over the past few months with a sudden fury of relationship turmoil, professional anxiety, social stress, and above all, omnipresent sense of weight that seems you have just recently become aware of. You're drawn out of the revive by your dad's familiar blooming laugh, as some cheesy comment Malcolm made seems to have hit its mark. Sitting at the table, you're suddenly immensely glad for the chance to be able to ignore everything for an evening and not have to struggle explaining to yourself for once. Fortunately, everyone seems to be content with laughing at each other's jokes and discussing favorite sports team, and for a while you think you will be able to get through dinner without any embarrassing personal intrusions. But no sooner does the thought cross your mind than the table conversation trickles off, leaving a slightly awkward silence to descend upon the dinner. So, how are you doing these days? Your mom asks you potently. It's such a simple question, and that you seem to have had to answer countless times recently. You take a moment to collect your thoughts, then look up. You take a deep breath. Well, that's the first we got a well. I'm not sure where this is gonna go. There's no doubt that depression is a battle, and it seems to have taken a particular toll on you. As the days go by, you find yourself interested in less and less. You think back to your life a mere few months ago. Compared to where you are now, it seems like you've just lost so much. Work has become unbearable, as the thought of you dragging yourself day in and day out to a job you can't stand just so you can scrape enough money together to do it all again the next day has ground your will down. Lately, your job performance has suffered tremendously, and your boss has already had a conversation with you about your absences. At this point, losing your job is not only a real possibility, it's downright probable. Your personal relationship has deteriorated as well. While you could never describe yourself as a social butterfly, your constant flakiness and continuing withdrawal from your circle of friends has all but alienated them from you completely. Nowadays, you rarely see or speak to them, and when you do, the conversations are strained and perfunctory. You almost never leave your apartment anymore. You are detached from the world, even ended up costing you your relationship with Alex. While she made every effort to be supportive and understanding, your refusal to try and manage your situation forced her to have to choose between having to constantly look after you and pursuing her own goals. As she continued to excel in her program at school, and she made it very clear on more than one occasion that she was dedicated fully to her education career and couldn't afford to be held back by somebody who was insistent on being stagnant. The subsequent split was practically inevitable. Before I go on, that's one of the saddest parts I just read. That his significant other, Alex, put her own goals, her own education career, which is good, she put them ahead because she can get a good job and a good life and do what she wants, but to say that she broke up with him because she felt like she was being held back by someone who's insisting on being stagnant was really messed up. If she broke up because the character playing as was too much, it was too much for her to handle, that's one thing, but to break up because of that is one of the messed up reasons to break up with someone. That's one of the worst things to get broken up is they say they break up with you because you're holding them back. Or because she doesn't feel like looking after you and she wants to pursue her own thing. And that's one thing that makes it hard. Anyone going through this, potentially, and I'm just kind of assuming how this is going, is why it's hard to open up, because you don't want someone to feel like they have to look after you. You don't want a relationship of any kind built upon of having to be looked after. It's not what you want. It's not what you were trying to go for. Like for me, that's one of the biggest fears is ever opening up to anybody and they feel like they have to look after you. They feel like they have to take care of you, and they're not there to be your friend or more. They're there only to look after you. And that's one of my biggest fears is if anybody I talk to about anything feel that way and they have to look after me or take care of me, that would be the worst. One of the worst things for me. And one of the most hurtful things too. The job thing, it's just a job. It could be for the better. I mean, less stress at least. Let's keep reading. You never could wrap your head around the whole notion of therapy and view it as anything other than invasive. Refusing to admit your need for help, your decision to try to tackle your depression on your own now seems woefully miscalculated. Your friends may have been willing to listen to you at first, but over time, your reluctance to accept any of their advice simply drove them away, leaving you with little in the way of a support network. With nobody to vent to, and an inability or unwillingness to seek help on your own, you quickly lost any desire to attempt to overcome your depression, and your downward spiral seemed to compound geometrically. See, I'm sorry, I gotta talk about this. Decision to not seek a therapist, I chose for my own reasons, but the part that bothers me is how the friends and everybody, even though I didn't try to seek help, and I didn't listen to their advice, but the fact that they left, basically abandoned our character just because of that, really hurts a lot. And I know it really hurts our character here. Because even if someone doesn't want to admit, or even if they do know they have an issue but they don't want help, the fact that you know that as a friend or someone that you know, even if they keep pushing off that they don't want to get therapy help or they don't want to listen to your advice, doesn't mean you should stop. Just because they push you away or don't listen doesn't mean you give up on them. It means you keep being there for them. You keep trying to help them. You keep being there as a friend, or if you're more than friends, then be more than friends still, but don't end it or cut it off just because of that. If someone's going through something like this, especially like this, even if they try pushing off, they need you more than ever. But the way our character here, friends abandon him, is one of the worst things that happen. Not just losing a job, not just losing your significant other, but now you lost all your friends. You're pretty much alone now. Let's keep reading. Poring over the events of the past few months is, even now, exhausting and defeating. Looking at the person you were mere months ago is almost surreal. It feels like a completely different person living a completely different life. In fact, it's hard for you to imagine ever having to have had a life that wasn't completely devoid of feeling or drive. The prospect of trying to imagine what your future holds seems not only impossible, but irrelevant and of little interest to you, as your life has become just a series of trudges from one emotional exhaust moment to the next. You look across the table to your mother, weakly meeting her gaze before dropping your eyes to the floor. You open your mouth to answer, but no words come out. You don't even bother pretending to try and think of what to say. So basically, what that's saying, if you didn't catch it, is after losing their job, losing their significant other, losing their friends, they got to the point to where they just don't care no more. Because what is there to care about anymore? What is there even worth talking about anymore? Why is it even worth trying? Is basically is what that's saying. Why keep lying? Or one of the more common phrases said, why keep putting on a fake smile? Epilogue. We really want to thank you for taking the time to play Depression Quest. We realize it may not be the most enjoyable game you have ever played, but even the easiest, and we sincerely appreciate your involvement. Like itself, Depression Quest does not have an end, really. There is no neat resolution to depression, and it was important to us that Depression Quest's own resolution reflect them. Instead of tidy ending, we want to just provide a series of outlook to take moving forward. After all, that's all we can really do with depression. Just keep moving forward. And at the end of the day, it's our outlook and support from people just like you that makes all the difference in the world. Thanks again. Credits. I like this last part they had at the end of the short credits. That's to us, the player, but it is also to y'all, the viewers. It says, and you for being willing to play games that are meant to be something other than simply fun. This game is something else other than to be played just for fun. It's supposed to give you, like how I talked in the beginning, an idea of what someone goes through the depression. Doesn't mean it's the same for everybody. Everybody handles it completely different. Some handle it a lot better, and some handle it just like this or worse. But even depression isn't just caused by some of these experiences that this character went through. It can be caused by many other different factors or many other different reasons. But as you can see, just trying to open up for the character here was hard. And even at times they did, at least with his significant other, that fell apart. And what I want to say is, and I'm not a psychiatrist, I don't know much about this myself. I don't know enough to give anyone advice if they're going through anything like this. I do like helping people. I do care about people. I do care about y'all. Even if I don't know y'all, and if I never met y'all, I do care about y'all. And I know this is a really hard topic to talk about, and it didn't get into other things that some people go through depression that's not mentioned in here. And some things are very severe things, or very, very hurtful, harmful things. It's not mentioned in here. But I want y'all to know, if you are going through something, just know I care about you. I know you heard this from a lot of people. I know I may not know you or may never meet you, but I do care about you. And I want this channel to be something you can be comfortable talking about things like this. I want this community to be a fun, supportive, caring, loving community. I don't care about getting 1 million subscribers or any of that or going viral. I don't care about that. I never have, and I never will. I just care about making sure everyone is doing okay, that I can help anyone I can, and and be supportive or be there for you when I can. Or just brighten your day with my other Let's Plays or videos I do. But just know, if you want to talk about anything, you're more than welcome to in the comments. And I want to ask everyone else that's watched this. Well, first off, thank you for watching this. Even though it's a long Let's Play, I know it is, and a lot of listening. Thank you for listening. But I want to say, anyone that makes a comment, for those who reply, please take them serious. That's all I ask. Treat anyone's response of depression, suicide, or harming themselves, or anything like that. Please consider all of it serious. Don't take it all as a joke. If you treat it as a joke, you don't know if what that person is going through, or what they've been going through. And if you do that, if you treat it as a joke, you tell them they're just seeking attention or anything, you don't realize how much harm you're causing. Your one comment of saying that could be the deciding factor for them to just give up on life completely. And I know there's some that joke about this too, that they want to hurt themselves or kill themselves, or they're depressed. And if you know people like that, and I know they're probably joking, you need to help convince them not to joke about that. Because depression or anything like this, or any mental, I guess what's considered illnesses, should never be considered as something to joke about, or to be able to use to joke about. Because it makes it harder for people to open up if something's actually going on. And it sets a horrible standard in society that this is something to joke about and not take serious, when it's something that should be taken really serious. But if you know someone going through something, just be there for them, but don't be there just to be there. If you're friends with them, keep being friends. Don't change that. If you're more than friends, keep that. Don't change that. Don't give up on them, because they need you the most. They need that support. The last thing you want is for them to give up and feel alone. But again, thank you all for just watching this and being with me on this Let's Play of this really amazing game that talked about, that gave an insight of depression. And just thank you so much for this. And thank you for spending the time watching this out of your day. And I hope all of y'all have a great day. And anyone you care and love about, you spend as much time as possible with them and let them know that. So thank you all, and I'll see you in the next video or next Let's Play. And if you like videos like these, games like these, let me know and I'll do more of these. Because I really enjoy doing games like these, because they help spread very important topics like this around, that need to be spread around, that need to be understood and understood. So thank you so much, and I'll see you on the next one.